Okay, so after I did my dog's head, I thought I'd show you how to make an eye punch. These are the sort of things we're looking at. This is a big one I've had for quite a long while. I'm not sure if I used that on the ram's head, but that's, let's say, quite a big one. And this is the little tiny one I made to do the dog's head. Much smaller, much finer, and they're both oval. But today I'm going to make a round one because I've got lots of oval ones and only one round one. So what we're going to use: material, old coil spring. You can find these anywhere, all over the place. This one you can see is bust, obviously why it was replaced. Find them all over the place, as I say. What else? A punch, just a rounded ended ordinary punch. You can make one of these dead easy out of anything. It doesn't have to be hard steel to do this job. And your hammer. And that's basically all you need. So let's get this in the fire, see if we can uncoil ourselves a bit and get cracking. There's loads of ways to uncoil these springs. I'm going to show you how not to do it very easily, because I'm making a right pig's ear of it. It won't quite drop down, now it will, into the hardy hole. And of course by now it's started to go cold. But as I say, loads of ways of doing it, and I think that's probably enough. I only want about 7 inches. Yeah, it's going to be plenty. 7 inches is a nice size. It's long enough so you don't burn your hand on the job, and close enough to the job so you can be accurate. I'm just going to whip that off. Like so. Right, I've just given it a quick clean up with a wire brush and ground the end off flat. And that's the end I'm going to taper. Just going to taper it slightly. That's going to be the end you hit. So it's going to be the hitty end. Just quite a shallow taper. Nothing fancy. Try and keep it level. And that's about it. That's all you need. Nothing much. So now we're going to work on the business end. Now what I'm going to do, I'll try and explain this. Imagine this is the bar. I'm going to hit it at a very, very steep angle. Sort of something like that. And just, you don't want it too upright, just nice and sharp. Work your way all the way around. And what that'll do, will give you your fish lips, as some people like to call it. You'll see what I mean when it actually happens. So just keep it nice and flat on the anvil and really steep, and I'm using a sort of pushing motion with the hammer, sort of forcing the metal out, and you can see it doing it quite nicely there. And if you can see, it's already starting to do it. You can't really see from that angle. I should have held it a bit more across. Let me do a bit more. There you can see, I think, a bit better. You can see there, yeah, it's quite a deep impression already. So now what we're going to do is stick it in the vise, and this is where you use your punch. If I can get it in the vise without keep dropping it. Just in that impression, in that indent, give it a few more blows. Now unfortunately this punch isn't particularly round, and you can see it's sort of got a few straight bits in it, so that's a bit of a no-no. So you want to make sure your punch is actually quite round. Doesn't look too bad from there, but it isn't particularly round. Now this is quite steep, this one. I should have put a bigger punch in really. So what I'm going to do is just grind back a bit further up, so I've got a more of an angle now, or less of an angle. So I've just put a really old, quite fine belt on, and I'm just going to dress this back further so that it's just not quite so steep. And the beauty of doing this is you can, if your punch didn't go exactly in the centre, you can actually dress one side or the other, whichever's thicker, to get them even. So this is quite a nice little way of doing it. I think that's almost there. It's a little bit more off one side, I think. Right, don't think you can really see, but that's just about it. Right, this one, as I say, I'm going to leave round, but if you want to make sort of more of an eyeball shape, you can just squeeze it up, just squash it slightly, make it into a bit of an oval. But as I say, I've got quite a few of them, so I'm going to leave this one round. So we're going to get it warm and plunge it in the oil to harden it up. So we'll get it up to critical, which, if you don't know, is non-magnetic, which is what I'm trying there. That's a magnet. As soon as it goes non-magnetic, we'll plunge it in the oil, make sure it gets nice and cool. Idiot. Right, let it drip dry a little bit. Oil all over the floor. There we go. Let's just give that a dry off with a rag. We'll try it with a file. And that is as hard as, that's just skating off of that. Be careful not to drop it, because it could well fall into bits. So I'm just going to clean it up with a bit of sandpaper to expose sort of some of the shininess underneath, so that when we temper it we can watch the colours come down. So I'm just taking that dirt and scale and muck off that's come from dipping it in the oil. I just use old engine oil, so you get a lot of the old carbon from the engine sticks to it. Bit of a pain, but it doesn't take long to get off. You can just see there now we've got a nice shiny section down the side. So let's see if we can temper it. Now, I haven't done it like this before, sort of held in a pair of grips, but I just thought you might be able to see quite well the process. Hopefully you'll see the colours start to run. I'm starting up the hitty end, and you can already see it start to colour, and I'm going to basically chase the colours down from top to bottom. I used to do this years ago when we used to harden chisels, road chisels, but we used to do it in the forge. Heat one end and just watch the colours come down. You can just see them there. Chase them down. Take a bit longer where it's being held. You can see there, they're coming nearly there. Right, now you watch that dark blue, dark blue, dark blue, dark blue, dark blue. Here comes the light blue, another touch, light blue, there. And that's what I want it at, light blue. So in water this time, I didn't put it back in the oil because I want to stop it dead. And you can just see, well I can, you might not be able to on the video, you can still see the colour, the light blue there. It's come down. So, just going to dry it off, and then we'll give it a quick clean up and give it a go. Find a rag. There we go. Dry it off. Now, banging it on there, if that was too brittle that would have broken by now, so I'm hoping that's about right. It looks okay to me. So let's get a bit of metal hot and give it a go. it's working, but the rim is a little bit wide. But it's better to be wide to start with than too narrow. So I probably, before I use it again, will just touch it on the grinder again, on that belt, and just thin that edge down slightly more. Now, where's my wire brush now? God, you put something down and it disappears. There we go. There you go, too nice. You don't have to use this for eyes, you can use it for decoration. You can do all sorts with it. Squash it up, make it narrower. You could put it all the way around the top of something, use it as decoration between circles and dots and squares, whatever you like. As you can see, I think it is a bit too thick, so I'm just going to take it down a little bit. But as I say, you've got to be careful. You don't want to take it too thin to start with, or too thin at all, because it can deform with the heat from your job. So it's a fine line between it being fine enough and too fine. I'd rather have it a bit fatter than a bit thinner. But it's all hit and miss, experimentation. So there's a quick demo of how to make a simple punch, eye punch or decorative punch. Have a play, make your own, and enjoy. Thanks for watching.